Hey, Rich,
Hey, Michael.
and welcome everybody to BitPunch Radio episode 066. What do you got to say?
Execute Order 66.
All right, yeah. Have you? Yeah. So, welcome everybody. We have a lot to cover. It's been a while since we've done the show. Um, Surprised to see some Tears of the Kingdom on here. So we'll have that to
Yes.
cover along with Mageseeker, a game that I've been actively wanting to play, but then I pivoted and played Moonlighter for the third time. uh, so we can talk about that, talk about the Case of the Golden Idol, not the DLC, the base game. We got some other stuff here. Looks like we've both been trying to wrap up Mistborn Era 2. I've been getting back into some manga a little bit, lots of TV, a couple books, a couple smaller books. So yeah, what do you want to start with?
Let's just knock out the Digital Sun games here. The
Okay.
Mage Seeker and
Okay.
Moonlighter.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to go back and play Moonlighter again?
uh, so it was honestly, it was I did not have that game on PC, and I
Ah, okay.
seen that it was on sale, the all of it for like $3. And so I was just
Right.
like, well, you know what? I love that game. Mageseeker was $30. Moonlighter was $3. And I was just like, I'll play that game again. And
Yeah.
I did not expect to finish it. I figured I would just dabble with it a little bit, and I finished it again.
Oh
Probably
my
put
gosh.
another a dozen or so hours into it, and that game is fantastic. I think it's still like one of my favorites, but I will say it's definitely showing its age.
Yeah.
It's the combat is very stiff. Combat is kind of slow. Um, but it's just that loop of trying to figure out like what you sell items for. My son was getting into it a little bit, so I've got the Steam Deck dock that we use all the time now. And it was cool to like see the indicators of like the dollar signs in the eyes, just like, well, shit, I need to sell that one for a lot more, or the people
Right.
that like turn away and they get mad at you. Um, that game is just solid. I would play it again probably, and I never do that with video games. There's a handful that are probably in my top 10 that I would go back to, and Moonlighter is one of them. There are better roguelites out there, like much better ones, but that one is just it's comfort, just comfort food for me.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so you got to talk to me about Mageseeker. What's going on there? I love like the
Yeah.
lore of League of Legends. Never played the actual base game, but I did play a little bit of the RPG that came out last year or 2 years ago, I think now, and really really dug Arcane. So I think that actually has Mageseeker has some Arcane characters in it. Is that correct?
I think it does. It doesn't
Okay.
have I haven't come across like any one for one characters, but it definitely
Okay.
seems like it's taking place in that same universe as Arcane takes place.
Yeah.
And I'm kind
Uh,
of like you. I don't have any frame of reference for what actual League of Legends is.
sure.
I only know what Arcane is, so I don't know how like where in a timeline Arcane falls or anything like that.
Right. My
Um,
so we passed around the stomach bug
mm,
a few weeks ago, well probably close to a month ago. And my son just laying on the couch with my wife, they ran through Arcane again.
okay.
So what just watch actually I take that back. My son watched 7 episodes with my wife, and then he watched the eighth episode with me. So Ashley has no idea how that show wraps up.
Oh no.
If you watch the show or remember how it ends, it's a pretty big cliffhanger. So,
Uh, yeah,
all
yeah,
right. So, Mage
yeah.
Seeker, what's going on there?
Yeah, so Mage Seeker is the next game from Digital Sun Games.
Hmm.
Um, since then they hadn't released a game since Moonlighter, which was quite a while.
Hmm.
Um, and it is a League of Legends story. It is very much the same sort of shtick as Moonlighter.
Okay.
It's not necessarily a roguelike, it's more of a like isometric adventure game. more
Mm.
like a Zelda, where you're kind of going around this
Oh.
map, and it's not really like an open world map. You're going to different little levels that you load into. Um, but you play as a character who's kind of locked up, and it is kind of pulling from Arcane a little bit on like magic is bad, like they don't like magic.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually put magic users in jail, and there's these almost like obligator mistborn people that I can't remember their names anymore, that like hunt these people down and
Mm-hmm.
and put them in jail. And your character kind of breaks out of this jail, and your character's magic power is the ability to steal other people's magic power. So you end up fighting a lot of these magic users where like you'll come into an encounter and you're fighting like a person that can do fire and a person that can do ice. And so like part of the loop is that your guy kind of has like the chains, like almost like Kratos, that he was like imprisoned with, like still attached to his arms.
Okay.
So he uses those to like hit people. But what you do in these encounters is you'll steal magic from one person and then use it against another enemy. So like if you
Mm.
come into a battle and there's like one fire guy and one ice guy, you can target, the fire guy, steal his magic, and then you get to use that magic one time. So you can use the fire magic you stole against the ice guy, and it does extra damage.
Mm.
And then you can do that kind of vice versa. And so it has like these 6 to 8 elemental powers that all intertwine Pokemon style, that have better DPS against different types. And
But it's
so
only one attack.
you only get it from one attack. So you can kind of
Oh.
pull from one, use it, and then pull from the other one and use it, and pull. It's very fast. It's very fast
Mm.
paced. And once you steal magic from somebody, you get the ability to use that magic as part of your rotation. But you can, when you load into a level, you can only pick one as your base, or one or two as your base to start with.
Mm.
And
Okay.
then as you go, you unlock more and more that you can kind of cycle through.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no loop to it though. So like, what if you pick the wrong magic? Like it's poison, but it's not gonna do.
You're kind of screwed.
Oh,
It
okay.
does tell you like when you go to load into a level, like what enemies you're going to encounter,
Oh, okay.
so you can kind of plan out for that. And then
Huh.
also you bring people with you um, that actually give you combos, so you can have like a fire combo or an ice combo. And so you could bring, if you bring a fire combo guy, then maybe you don't need the firepower, since you have a combo that can do fire. You can use up one of those slots with something else. It's very The systems are almost a little overwhelming. It really throws a lot at you in the first couple hours. Like it's just constantly introducing systems to you, and like for fighting, and it's hard. Like
I was about to ask. Like, could you
it
not?
is
Can you?
friggin' hard.
You couldn't like button mash your way through it. Like, you
Oh
do have
no.
to kind of pick and choose correctly.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. It
okay.
is. It is. It is pretty difficult. Yeah, a couple of the like little mini bosses that I fought was, one of them was just really hard. And even some of the other battles, it throws a lot at you, in a way that I don't remember like Moonlighter doing. But
Uh,
I'm really liking it so far. I'm about 3 or 4 hours in. I'd say it's like a 12 to probably 14-hour game, I'd say.
oh wow. Okay.
So
I was not
yeah.
expecting it to be. I'm gonna make your box just a little bigger, cutting your head off. There we
Oh
go.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, don't short me on hair. um, One thing I don't like about it is your character's he's kind of a douchebag.
mm,
He's got kind of this like snarky attitude, like I just want revenge, 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 revenge.
mm-hmm.
Um, and like all these other people around you are just like, yeah, our life kind of sucks, but we're rebels. We're working toward it. It's like a little too boilerplate,
Mm,
and like you can already tell, like he's gonna have like a redemption arc where he's gonna like realize the revenge wasn't worth it. I can kind of feel like that's the way it's going. Um, but yeah, that's probably my only complaint so far. The art is really good. Um the fighting is really good. That part of it, the most important part of it, I think is pretty strong.
so Moonlighter came out. I'm gonna slide this over real fast. Oh, almost 5 years ago. So for an indie studio, I would assume like a small indie studio to release a game once every 5 years. Like they kind of, to me, Moonlighter was great. I don't know like
Right.
how well it sold, but I mean, they made a name for themselves with that the League of Legends studio, like wanted to work with them to build whatever, this dungeon crawler.
Right.
Um, but like, where do they go from here? Like, do they continue to do like licensed work, or hopefully, they make enough? It is a $30 game. I don't remember Moonlighter being that expensive. But I know why can I not think of League of Legends? Like, who the hell what is that team name?
Right.
Riot, thank you. Um,
Yeah.
so like I know Riot's gonna, get their cut of that, but like, how I've in this like in this year, like how much of an impact did Mageseeker have? Like it was on the Steam charts there for a little bit, and then it's kind
Yeah.
of dropped
It's got
off.
good reviews. I mean, it's very positive on Steam. It has 1,408 reviews,
Right.
which isn't a ton, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wonder if they maybe acted as like a support studio for a while in that 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
Yeah, that's true.
I don't see. I'm not a game developer, but I don't see like 5 years of development in what I've played of Mage Seeker so far.
That's why I was just like, you had 5 years and you came out with this, which is seems
Right.
great, but like in five, I don't know.
You're
I
right.
don't own a business, but and I don't know how big Digital Sun is, but something doesn't add up there. But I love the studio, and I will buy Mageseeker and play it. I want to support them. But I'm just curious, like, where do they go from here? And you're probably right. They probably did some support for some other companies. Because, like, Will, the guy from Moonlighter, like, I feel like he was showing up and stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Almost like Shovel Knight esque, not as big, but I know, I feel like Will, like, came into a couple of other indie games, so.
Yes. Yeah. For sure.
Okay. So you have a big boy on here. Let me
Oh
just go
yeah.
through some of mine, um, and then we can talk about Tears of the Kingdom. Very curious about this. Um, so we just finished the case of the Golden Idol like an hour and a half ago.
Oh okay.
That game was fantastic. It is very strange. It is it's a point and click like detective game where you have like screens and you're clicking on everything and you're collecting clues, and then it turns into an investigation to like a screen where you're playing almost like Mad Libs, where you're trying to piece together like these characters did this with this character which resulted in this, and then there would be like clues, and you like another section of the screen would be like different clues, and you're saying like this person had to do with this clue, this person had to do with this clue, and they ease you into it. So where I think that first one you could probably finish it in 10 minutes, the second one probably 15, but it got to the point to where I think that last one, there's 11 acts altogether.
Mm,
It probably took us about an hour and a half just on like 6 different screens trying to piece these clues together. And it might click with
right.
people, sooner than that, but we devoured that game. It was really, we were staying up like way too. I was falling asleep on Ashley while she was trying to solve stuff, and that's really good. They just released some DLC for it. Lanka, the Lanka DLC. I don't remember what it's called, but it just came out last week. And I listened to the Next Landers podcast. Vinny was talking about it on there, and he was saying it's really good. There's only 3 cases, but it's only like $5, and that's several hours of content. And they could just keep pumping those out. Like I loved the characters. I love that it's like it's set in like the 1700s, so like things are just like strange during that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really cool. It's like Norco-esque, but set in like the 1700s.
Oh
Um,
boy.
you should pick that up. It plays on the Steam Deck. But it was really cool. That'd be a fun one to stream. Like now I know not most of the answers, but still that was really cool. I highly recommend Case of the Golden Idol.
Okay.
Um, I finished Control since we last spoke.
Okay.
Um, that was another recommendation from you. And I've had it for a while, and I finally got around to playing it, and plays really well on the Steam Deck. I did throw it on a 4K TV from the Steam Deck. You know, it
Yeah.
didn't
No.
look that great. Um, but
Did
then
you
I
try to
played.
run it on your PC at all?
But then I sat here, put my
Yep.
headphones on. Now I've only got a 1080p monitor, but it's that game is fucking gorgeous.
It is, man. It
Oh
is.
my gosh, and it runs so well, and it just, man, it controls so well. Like that, everything about that game was just really fun. It didn't overstay its welcome. I finished it in probably a dozen hours. They just would
Yep.
slowly dish out new things to the point where I'm like, I'm just flying at this point.
Yep.
This is wild. Some of the story beats, I don't quite understand. I did want to go through and I did like look up a couple things about it after the fact. It does tie in to, this is a little spoiler, does tie into Alan Wake. I didn't
Yep.
know that.
The typewriter is in the what's the name of that place? What's the name of the building you're in?
uh oh shit.
Something like generic. It's something really generic.
I wanted
Yeah,
to
but the
say
typewriters.
compound, but it's not the compound.
No. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a bunch of where they house a bunch of supernatural stuff in the typewriters there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a blend of like uh supernatural and like real. And you're there to find your brother, essentially, is what you're there for. And you acquire a weapon that can shapeshift and like turn into different weapons. Um Man, I maxed out my throw ability and left everything else
Mhm.
alone. Like that was, I just wanted to max it. So like I would just pick stuff up and throw it and bodies would just disintegrate.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
really helped because some of those flying enemies were pretty annoying, especially the guys
Yes.
in the chairs.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But yeah, and like
Yeah.
now the Ultimate Edition, they have like all these accessibility controls. Like you could you could turn it on to where like it just, everything's a one hit kill. So if you just
Right.
want to experience the story in that game, you could just turn that stuff on where it's just like you just blap 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 your way through it and probably finish it a lot quicker. I died a lot. It was a challenging game.
Yeah.
Not overwhelming. And I knew like if I knew why I died. It was just like, oh, I got too cocky there, or you can't stand still. Like
Right.
you
Yep.
have to always be kind of moving in that game because otherwise they'll come and swarm you. Really cool. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for the second one. That game was so good.
Yeah.
Damn, I
I
love
just
that
really like
Remedy
the
pivoted away from Alan Wake because I
yeah.
really didn't care for. I thought it was just okay.
Yeah.
They nailed it with Control.
Yeah, I just like the vibe of it. It's got a very X-Files
Mm-hmm.
like and like really well done. Like they nailed that part of it. Like the creepy janitor
Yeah.
and like the old director guy,
Yeah.
like all the FMV stuff. Like yeah, just all the weird stuff like with the light switch, like you pull it
Oh
three
yeah, three
times and like
times.
it yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like super weird. Like I actually that's one of the few games that I liked reading all the like logs and stuff
Mm-hmm.
because it was really interesting and you
Yeah.
would actually learn stuff about it. Yeah, I
The three
I really
things,
like that game.
or pulling the light switch three times, that took me a little bit to understand. I would go flip it and it would flicker your screen, and
Yep,
then I would just walk away. I was just like, what am I missing here? But
yep,
yeah, finally understood. Yeah, that
yeah.
the
Do you
combat in
do
that
you
game just really stands out to me. Man, it just feels so
yes,
good.
yeah. Do you understand now what I was saying that they need to be the ones to make a Mistborn game
Oh yes,
because
absolutely.
like like that's as close to a Mistborn game that exists at this
Yeah.
point, you know.
Yes. And like the flying around, like it felt and Mistborn, they don't just fly. They're like pushing and pulling. And so I think that whole, like, you could adapt that and
Hmm.
make it work, I think. Uh
Yeah,
that'd be such a
yeah.
huge undertaking, but yeah. So Control 2 coming out hopefully soon. I think it's next year sometime, but
And I will say, if you have a decent PC, you should go back and play it or load it back up now. There's actually a mod that one of the developers from Control got permission from Remedy. He left Remedy. I think no, I shouldn't say that. He was a former developer of Control, or one of the developers on Control, and he made a mod that like fixes a lot of the issues, some of the performance issues with like the ray tracing,
mm,
and made it like way better. It was already like really good,
hmm.
but he's went in and like fixed a lot of the problems with it, and it looks even better now than it did before with this mod on. So Digital Foundry just did a video on that like this week, and
Oh,
it's
so this
making
is
me want to
something
kind of
new?
yeah, something really
Ah,
recent.
gosh.
Yeah, yeah,
I I
yeah.
I
Great game.
I think it allowed me to turn ray tracing on the Steam Deck, and it was adorable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what else have I been playing? Cassette Beast is a Pokemon style game that is on Game Pass. I've played a couple hours of it. I don't think I'll continue to play that. Seems pretty solid though. PC only, but it is coming to consoles, I believe, next week. And then I did pick up Live Alive. Um, Live Alive is a JRPG. Came out in 1994 in Japan only. They remade it and did the 2.5 HD, that like really gorgeous looking, where the camera can almost like is dead on, but like it can kind of
Right.
it's like it's not quite 3D. That's why it's 2.5. It's really cool. It looks really good. That game is like 7 different stories, and so you can kind of finish a story in like a couple hours. The one I just finished earlier, it took me about 3 hours to get through, and it was not great. But the first one I played was like set in this western. As soon as I seen that could be like a cowboy, I was like, oh, that's the first one I'm going with. And it's story of like you go into this town, and they want to hire you to protect it because bandits were coming that night, and so you start working with the town, and you're like setting all these traps, like you're putting like bombs in the ground and stuff, and then it like once you're done setting everything up, the cut scene of like all the bandits coming in, and you're just seeing these explosions, and these horses and bodies are going everywhere, and like this pixel art, it was really nice looking. I'm surprised like they put that much work into it. Never heard of Live Alive until it came out last year. But it just came out on Steam, and I think I want to say PS4 and PS5
Mm.
and Steam, because it was a Nintendo exclusive. Yeah, really, really, really good game so far. I think I've done 5 of the 7, so I'm more than halfway done. And I think that is it. So I'm still playing Live Alive. Um, and I don't know. Chicory is a game that I've kind of always wanted to play, and that's coming to Game Pass. But I don't know what I'm gonna play after Live Alive. So
Mm.
I'll be on the lookout.
Yeah.
What are you up to?
Yeah, so I was kind of in the same position that you're about to be in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of poking my way through Mageseeker, but wanted something bigger to play, and I was kind of looking forward to Jedi Survivor, and then also looking forward to Redfall.
Yeah.
Um, both of those came out pretty much broken on PC.
Right.
Um, I don't have an Xbox anymore. I don't have a PlayStation anymore. So um, yeah, Jedi was really broken on PC like the first week, like to the point where like all the cutscenes weren't like the audio was desyncing from the video,
Oh my
and like
gosh.
people in which like that's an important thing in those games because of the story. Um, just really bad performance and during launch. Now they've patched that game quite a bit, and I do think it's running a lot better. But the people that I see on YouTube saying, "Oh, it's running much better," are on 4080s and,
Sure.
3090s. It's like, yeah, no, I don't have that. So I need to wait a little bit longer probably.
Hmm.
Um, and then Redfall came out and seems like it's not a very good game.
I
It
think
has its own set of issues.
I say they're going to abandon that game. It's not pulling. I mean, it's like 150 active people were playing it on Steam earlier, and
Yeah.
that game's not even a month old.
Yeah.
It is on Game
Yeah.
Pass. I get that, so it's not capturing those numbers, but 150, like that's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's just sad. I mean, both of those games coming out the state they did is pretty sad. But Redfall seems like it was kind of years away from being finished,
Hmm.
and it kind of has this look of something where like they had an idea and it didn't really hit, and by the time like they figured out that it didn't really hit, it's like, well, it's too late. Like
Right.
more time isn't going to fix, you know a couple months isn't going to change the whole,
No.
layout of the game and how the game plays and all this stuff. It's very much a Destiny inspired game, in the same way like Gotham Knights was. I mean, you think about like Gotham Knights was like this. Remember when they showed that at
It was
whatever
supposed to be
E3 it was,
huge,
and people were like, "Oh my
massive.
gosh, this is going to
Yeah.
be awesome," and then it's just nobody's talking about that game.
No.
Like Dying Light 2, like this big huge game, big huge release.
Yeah, Dying Light
No,
1 had this rapid fan base.
yeah, yeah, nobody talking about that game
I've
anymore.
seen I've seen some crazy like TikToks about Redfall where this like boss zombie spawns out and a guy just hides behind a car, and so he's behind the
Yeah,
car and the zombie or not zombie, the vampire's on the other side of the car, and it's just pacing back and forth because the AI can't comprehend going around the car to get to him. It just breaks.
yeah, yeah. So that's not good. Xbox is in kind of a lot of trouble right now with they just really haven't had any big games. Halo came out,
They're not
was
supporting it.
had to be delayed a whole year. It came out and did pretty well in the beginning, and then they kind of dropped the ball on
Yeah, what are they do?
multiplayer.
What are they doing with it?
I mean, that's kind of a mess, and now you have Redfall, and then now everybody's worried. Now Starfield has these just expectations that it's never going to live up to
No,
at
no,
this point. So, I mean, which Phil Spencer in an interview basically said, like, listen, there's like Starfield could be an 11 out of 10. Like, we're not gonna, it's not gonna, win us the console war. You know what I
right.
mean? Like, that's not what we're trying to do.
Well, like
So he
last year, what was their big game? Pentiment? Like what came out last year for them?
nothing. I mean, 2020, and he acknowledged the same thing. He's like 2022 was basically a while, like nothing.
Yeah,
Like we did nothing. And honestly, I think you could say the same for Sony. I mean, they released the new Horizon game, but that was also a PS4 game. And
right.
they released God of War, but that was a PS4 game. I mean,
Hmm.
even Sony Santa Monica literally said we were trying to make the best PS4 game we could make, with God of War Ragnarok. I think the only PS5 exclusive game they've released thus far is Returnal. I don't think
Uh,
there's
I think Ratchet and Clank was also. I don't think
was
you
it
can.
only PS5?
I think so.
Really? Okay, so that's 2
Yeah,
games for
right.
a
Yeah,
game that's 2 years a console that's 2 years old.
right.
You got Spider-Man coming up. That'll be PS5 only. That should be good. It's Naughty Dog,
Is that this year?
but I think so. I think
Hmm.
so.
Yeah. What's the big stuff that's coming? What's the rest of the year look like?
I think it's Spider-Man and I think it's Starfield. I think those are the 2, unless there's something that's
Are we
gonna
gonna
be announced
are we getting an
sometime soon.
Assassin's Creed? Are we gonna get
I think
is
we are supposed to
Mirage?
get Assassin's Creed. I think Mirage is this year.
I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to that.
Why?
I, I really liked Origins and
Yeah, but you didn't play, um, what was the Viking one?
Valhalla, but
Valhalla,
I
yeah.
thought the rumor was that they're scaling it back, which
Yeah.
Valhalla was too much, and so was Odyssey. Odyssey was too much for me. When I got on that boat and I seen
Yeah.
that map, took it back. I was like, nope, this is way too much. This game
Yeah.
is massive.
I mean, we got Diablo coming up here soon.
Oh yes,
Um,
right. Final Fantasy 16. I'm
yeah, I
very
mean,
very sad I don't get to
Zelda
play that.
Zelda just hit. I mean, oh yeah, Forspoken. Forspoken was this big game that was a
Yeah,
game that was supposed to be awesome. It came out. Nobody's talking about that either.
Dead Island 2 came out.
Um,
You know, it's a big game.
people seem to say that's pretty good.
Should we? Should we
I,
zombie up on that?
I've heard some people say that that game is not as bad as it maybe should be, or you would think it would
Maybe
be.
I'll wish list it, and if it goes down to $30 or something, we'll pick it up.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so I was in that situation where I was waiting on these two big games to come out, and was like, I'm gonna play one of those. I'll pick one and play it. And then they kind of hit broken. It's like, well,
Right.
not gonna play those. So what am I gonna do? And then we had talked the last time we had a podcast. I think was when they showed off that Zelda kind of gameplay trailer for the first time.
Yeah.
We were both like, okay, it showed all the building and stuff, and I was like, man, I don't know that I'm really any more interested, than I was, before,
Mm-hmm.
knowing it was going to be really similar to Breath of the Wild. Um, but I'd seen a little bit of gameplay, a little bit of some people playing it. I was like, okay, there's a lot more going on here. This seems like a much bigger game than Breath of the Wild was. I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm going to pick it up, and
Yeah.
and
So did
I'll
you and
play.
10 million other people,
Yeah,
which is
so
crazy.
I kind of figured I'll pick this up. I'll play it until Diablo comes out, because I figure the Blizzard servers will be on fire for at least a week after Diablo comes
Is that
out.
June 6th? Is that release?
Oh boy. Yes, June 6th.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
So I do plan on playing that pretty quickly after it comes out. Maybe we'll
Yep.
try to get together on launch day and hit the join server button and watch all the people in
Together,
the Diablo chat
just
just bitch
cry.
about.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I did pick up Tears of the Kingdom. Um It's really weird going from the Steam Deck to the Switch. It's so little dainty. It's just this little bitty toy thing.
Those Joy Cons feel cheap, don't they?
Oh man, it's such a
And they're the
terrible.
most. They're so expensive.
It is so bad. Like it is so bad. I loaded it up. I'm playing it handheld, and I get out of like the little cave or whatever, and get out to the world, and I'm like, God, this game looks terrible on this
Oh
thing.
no.
And so I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, I know if I dock it, it'll run better because it'll use more power.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I'll dock it, and then I put the little Joy Cons on the stupid little thing. I'm like, this is the dumbest. This is
You
so
don't have a
dumb.
pro controller?
So Michael, I went and bought a Pro controller,
Yeah. Nice.
and now I can play Tears of the Kingdom. That game still doesn't run super well
That's
in
not
some
good.
cases. Um, I mean, it's 30 frames. I mean, it's not 60. But there are times when you're doing in the building mode where it is like less than 20 frames a second.
Mm.
Like it is chunky.
I wonder why
Um,
build would throw that off versus you like flying around and taking in
I
all the
think just
world.
because like I think when you turn that build mode on, it highlights all the stuff that you can interact with, and I think
Oh,
that just
okay. Sure. Yeah.
it it really chunks it up. And so far, I've only been in the sky. You start in the sky.
Mm.
I don't know if I've heard the frame rate's better on the ground, but I don't know yet because I haven't made it there. Um, I mean, it is more Breath of the Wild. It is the same control system, the same uh, like menus, the same controls, but now you have different powers.
Mm.
It does it does like retcon you right at the beginning. Like you literally watch Link lose. Like you start the game like sometime after Breath of the Wild with like 40 hearts, and then 5 minutes in something happens and you literally watch all the hearts disappear and go down to three.
Does
And
that
you
suck, or is it just kind of like were you expecting that?
Oh no, I was totally expecting
Okay.
that. It's like there's no way they're gonna let me have
Yeah.
any of that.
BOP at the beginning.
Right. Yeah. So you do lose all your powers, so you don't have any of the powers from the first game, like the bomb and the stasis and all that stuff. You don't have any of that, but you're quickly going to get all the new powers. Um, so there's still Korok seeds. There's still,
Mhm.
the moblins. I mean, it's breath. It's more of that so far. Um, I'm enjoying it. The
Okay.
I've gotten to do some of the building. The building seems pretty cool. It seems pretty intuitive. I'm just now getting to the part where I'm gonna be able to add like fans and
Mm.
stuff to my contraptions. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited to keep playing. I'm excited to see. I guess what kind of drew me in is I want to see what they did with that map and like with that base world. Like, what did they do to it? Like, did they add to it? Did they change it very much? Like,
Hmm.
is my real big complaint of Breath of the Wild was it felt kind of empty.
Yeah.
Like,
Same.
yeah, there was a lot of stuff to do, but it was a really big map with kind of not a lot going on. Yeah, there was like these little nooks and crannies and secrets there, but it never felt as dense as like a Witcher
Right.
or you know or an Assassin's Creed or anything like that to me. Um, but we'll see how this game does. This game looks bigger in a in a pretty significant way. There's a lot of fucking sky islands. Like it's kind of overwhelming. Like you look out like over the sky and you can just see like 30 or 40 different islands
Oh
and you're
my
just like
gosh.
whoa man, and then knowing there's a whole map below me that I haven't even went down to yet, it's like okay, this is gonna be a lot. But it's one of those games that like I know how to play Zelda, so I can kind of come pick that up, put it down, pick that up, put it
Right.
down. So
Yeah.
you know, I'll buy it now. It's not going to go on. Is it went on sale? I thought I saw something that said it went on sale already, and
Oh,
I thought there's no
yeah. I
way that
actually
went on sale.
actually tweeted it because I think Costco was selling it for $60
Oh,
because it is a
okay.
$70 game.
Because that was my thought. It's like, well, it's going to be $70 for the next 25 years, so I
Right.
might as well just buy it now.
Yeah.
Like you go on to the Switch store, it's like you don't even need the store, man. Like we all know what it costs.
Right.
Don't even put the prices on there.
Yeah. Just give it to
We all
me.
know it's full price. Like just
Um.
give me the thing, charge my credit card.
Okay. So I have questions.
Okay.
The build mode. So I am not a like um an artsy person. I would come up with whatever gets the job done. And I've seen people are relying on just building long ass objects to get them from point A to point B. And I feel like I
Yes.
would like Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts would not be a game for me because
Right.
it has its audience. That's just not for me. When you build something, do you get like a blueprint to where you can just shit that thing
No.
out? Or so if
No.
you wanted to build a car, you every time you would you're putting attaching wheels, attaching a fan
Yes.
to make it move. Okay. So what about like how long does that last? Is it there? Can you save the game and turn it off and it's still there when you turn it back on?
No.
Okay.
So my understanding is, and I haven't tested this, but my understanding of it is that as long as you put the Switch in sleep mode,
Mm.
the contraptions that you build will still be there. As
Okay.
soon as you quit the title menu and you reload, it all resets. So you're not gonna have like a garage or like a big
Sure. Oh,
dumpster
okay.
of like all your contraptions that you can just go grab whenever you need it. You're gonna have to rebuild it every time.
The,
Um,
is there any sort of inventory management? Because I feel like you'd be picking up
oh,
a.
a lot,
Mm,
and I have not. Okay, I have not gotten to where there. At some point in the game, I'm gonna come up to this like little gumball looking thing, like a gumball dispenser that like gives me Zonai pieces that I can use to build stuff like on the fly. And
okay.
I know that all goes into your inventory, but I haven't experienced that yet. But it
Mm,
still has all the stuff you're picking up. Like I've been playing for like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and like when you press right on the D-pad and you can scroll through all your like
right.
food and all your weapons. Like I've got so much shit already. because one of the other mechanics in the game is you can fuse things to your weapons. So like
Oh, right.
you can fuse like a fire plant to your bow to an arrow, and it'll explode when it hits something. Or you
Did you
can.
shoot that to the sun?
I did not yet.
Oh, you need to do
Okay.
that.
I just got that ability not too long ago.
Okay.
And then you can fuse like rocks on the end of a stick, and it makes a stick, a rock stick.
Hmm.
Or like I saw somebody put a piece of butter on an end of sword, and it was a butter sword, and it didn't do anything.
Oh, really?
It'll let you
But you
attach
can
shit.
still do it?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but then it has cool stuff where you get like a long stick and you can attach like a fucking pitchfork to it. And you got like stupidly long thing that you're carrying around. Like it looks absolutely
So like
ridiculous.
clipping into the earth and stuff
Oh
when you're
yeah,
running.
yeah, it's totally dumb. But that part actually helps with like the weapon degradation
Okay.
because you can just take a straight up base ass stick and throw a rock on the end of it, and it's a pretty. It changes the effects of it. It makes it give it more damage,
Mm.
makes it more less degradable. So it actually changes it a little bit. Um, and the key to that is once you fuse something together, you can't take it apart. Like if you take it apart, you lose that weapon.
Mm.
So, um,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, the building is pretty intuitive. So like if you and you can, so like you were saying, like a lot of people are just building these long ass logs, like super log. It's like 40 logs put together. You could totally do that, and you could just that's that. The game's not going to stop you.
Wow.
So like at the start of the game, you're on this big sky island, and you got to get to these 3 shrines. And one of the ways I got to one of the shrines, I don't think was the right way that they really wanted me to. Um, and I had this little contraption that I built that got me there, kind of in like a really janky way. And when I came out of the shrine and went like the way that I thought it wanted me to go, there was all this like building material of like the obvious way it wanted me to build this thing and like
Hmm.
sail across this pond, but I got myself there a different way. But
Mm.
it didn't matter. Like it's like,
Right.
okay, well, you did it. So that's kind of cool. Like it's a little bit like an immersive sim in that way, in a weird way. Like just solve it however you want to solve it. Like if you want to, you know, find this janky ass way to get to this thing or to get to your goal, then it's not gonna stop you.
How's the map in this game?
It's it's a very similar map.
Okay.
So I think it's almost identical. You can still use the little pad. I think it was called the Sheikah slate in the first game. It's called the Purr pad in this game.
Hmm.
It's Link has a little switch, and he can like hold it up, and you can use the little scope to mark things.
Okay.
One thing that I don't like, and I cannot believe that the map works this way, and I'm glad you asked this question because when you use the little scope and you mark something, it puts that like a big column in the sky, like
Hmm.
in the world, like up, yep, that's your marker, and then it marks it on your mini map, like with that colored marker. But when you open the big map, like by pressing the minus button, none of those markers are on the map. And so like
Really?
I was like, I was like, wait a minute, like why isn't that there? Like I marked it, it marks it on the mini map, it marks it in the world, but it's not on the big map. That doesn't make any
Mm.
sense. You can use all the different icons on the big map to like mark where things are. And now you can fast travel between the shrines, which is pretty
Oh,
nice.
okay.
Instead of the towers. Um, and I haven't even made it to a tower yet. I'm assuming there's towers. Because I think I've seen screenshots where like the parts of the map are like foggy.
Mm.
The first game, but yeah, the map I'm not sure. We'll have to see once I get into using it. But that was one thing I noticed where when you mark something in the game with the pad, it doesn't show up on the big map, which seems
Weird.
really weird. Yeah.
Gosh darn it. I kind of want to play it, but I also seen the Game Informer. That guy, I think his name's Kyle Hilliard, I believe is his name. The guy that reviewed it, played 75 hours in like a week, and
Whoa.
yeah, so I mean, it's gotten tens across the board. Like everyone seems like they love it. Sold 10 million copies in 3 days. That is just that is wild. Um, and I'm not the biggest Breath of the Wild fan. But it seems like this game solves some of my issues with it. Like I don't like weapon degradation. But if I can make stuff that is like a lot more sturdy, then that's fine. I didn't like that there wasn't really dungeons to go into, and I hear this game has dungeons. Um, it once you get down into the world, like if it's a little more, if there's just a little bit more to do, a little bit more to interact with, like I like the idea of like not having to scale a mountain. You can just kind of whatever that's
Right.
called, just kind of shoot right up through it. I mean, it seems like they made a lot of really good choices. So I may pick that up, but um, I don't know. Like it might be after Diablo. Because I got a couple things on my backlog still that I want to play, but Diablo will be my big game there for a while. So okay, anything
Maybe
else?
maybe I could try to stream it. I don't know if I can hook it up to my computer monitors because they're 1440p. I don't know how that would work, but
Well, you gotta get it into your computer. So
yeah,
you
but
so
yeah,
you
I'd
you
have to
would need
buy.
like an Elgato.
I'd have to get like an Elgato. Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm. That would
yeah,
be kind of cool
yeah,
though.
yeah.
I'm
I haven't
like
actually
look
tried. I haven't tried to hook it up to these monitors. I don't know if it'd work.
like if
Huh.
it upscale it or anything.
Yeah, I don't know what he would even do because I don't think these monitors will even do 1080p.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Hmm. But yeah, I'll let you know. I'm gonna keep playing it.
Okay.
Um, we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is all the games I have to talk about. Do you want to talk about Mando? Mando in
Yeah. Just
Mando
real quick.
ended.
Yeah,
What'd you think?
I liked it. Um, it didn't. There was a lot of hints about maybe a direction it would go in the episodes leading up to the end, and then it kind of didn't deliver on some of those
Hmm.
hints. I feel like. Um, it kind of ended in maybe a little bit of a predictable way. I think. Which is fine. I think it was just fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's worth watching, especially if you're invested in Star Wars at
Sure.
all. Um, there's pretty there's some pretty great meme worthy stuff happening in this season of Mando. Um, that I won't spoil, but man, when you get to it, you'll know what I mean.
Okay.
There's a very memey like 5 minute sequence with Grogu.
Oh,
Um,
geez. Is
it's
is
fantastic.
Luke in it a lot?
He's not in it at all.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
not this season. Um, let's see. The season is very horny.
Okay. All right.
Very, very, very horny on the Bo Cotton or Bo Katan. Sorry, Bo
Yeah.
Cotton. Jesus, Bo Katan. People are really, really into Katie Sackhoff.
All right.
Um, which for good reason.
Is Ahsoka in it?
Um, she is not. She's not in it.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, and see, this is where I thought they were going. I thought they were making some very, very pointed references at Rebels, and I thought, and then they, like the week before Mando ended, they released that trailer for Ahsoka, and I
Hmm.
thought they're gonna. I thought, okay, here's what they're gonna
They're
do.
prepping it. Yeah.
They're gonna bring Ahsoka into this last episode and introduce characters from Rebels. That way, people that finish Mando will want to watch Ahsoka if they're not, fully
Right.
into that or not.
Sure.
And they didn't. They didn't do that. That never comes to fruition, basically. Um,
Okay.
but I still think it was good. I- It was fine.
Is Ahsoka next?
Yes. Yes, I
What's
think they just announced the dates actually.
yeah, like what's Star Wars got going on? Like we know all the stuff that Marvel's working on.
Oh, they just announced a bunch of stuff. Um, I
Oh,
thought
I'm
they
sorry.
so it's
Hold on. My Alexa is naming a bunch of Star Wars stuff right now. I think I said the wrong word.
that's funny.
Go
That's
ahead.
funny.
Sorry.
You said Ahsoka, so it probably thought it was Alexa.
Yeah.
Um, August of 2023 is Ahsoka.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, Star Wars had Star Wars Celebration not too long ago, and they announced a whole bunch of projects and TV shows and like a whole new timeline that they're gonna do.
Hmm.
Um, like that they're gonna work within. But yeah, we have Ahsoka coming up, and then Skeleton Crew, the Acolyte, Andor season 2, next season of Bad Batch. There's supposed to be a Lando series.
Andor season 2.
Yep, that's a year. That's in 2024. Um,
I thought
yeah.
that kind of ended really close to. So what would they? What am I missing here? What would it? What would they cover?
They would do the lead up into Rogue One probably.
But I thought Andor ended pretty closely to Rogue One.
No, probably it
Oh,
was when he
okay.
was just getting involved in
Oh, okay. Okay. So
uh
I
that guy.
misunderstood that
Yeah,
then.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, they've announced a bunch of stuff. Dave Filoni's going to get his own movie. It's going to be
Hmm.
kind of like the Avengers of Star Wars that they're gonna in like the Mandoverse. Um, let's see here. Yeah, Kevin Feige is going to get a Star Wars movie, or I guess that got canceled. Let's see.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I wish I could find a good article from back then. I think that was in late April that they
Oh,
announced all
okay.
that stuff. Um, but it was quite a bit. Like they did announce like a whole new set of timelines that they're going to play with. Um, yeah, there's quite a bit. Maybe my next podcast I'll do some research and
They
pull up
really
all that
like
stuff.
that original trilogy time era. Like, it doesn't seem like they're doing a whole lot with like the new trilogy, the new era, or whatever they call 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see if I can find that new timeline because it was kind of interesting.
And Andor is still one that I really want to go back and watch, just because I heard like non Star Wars fans could find like some fun in that because I guess it was just
Right.
really good.
Yeah. So now their timeline goes like this. So they have Dawn of the Jedi, which is like the very beginning of the Jedi, and then they
Mm,
have the Old Republic, which is like from the video game.
mm.
Then they have the High Republic, which is all those books
Those
and
books,
comics and
sure.
stuff. Then they have the Fall of the Jedi, which would be like A New Hope,
Mm,
or well, no, that would be like 1 through 3. Then they have Reign of Empire, Age of Rebellion, the New Republic, Rise of the First Order, which would be the new trilogy,
mm.
and then the new Jedi Order that Rey. They did announce Rey is going to come back, and she's going to get I think a movie of her rebuilding the Order, or either
What?
a movie or a TV show. Yeah, yeah.
So like, would they do an episode 10?
I don't know if it's episode 10. Maybe it was a TV show.
Oh, they should do episode 10.
Yeah. So the
Overall, are people happy with like Ray as a character, or is she?
um, I think she's probably the one thing people are okay with from that
Oh, okay.
trilogy. But yeah, so the director of Logan and
Oh, all right.
Ford versus Ferrari,
Yeah.
he's going to get to do um a film set in the first Jedi, like that first timeline period that I just said. What was it called? The
Like before the movies.
Dawn of the Jedi. Yeah, like
So is
for
that
the
when
Old
like
Republic.
KOTOR? Is that like KOTOR era?
Yeah, that's Knights of the Old Republic. So this would be
Okay.
pre that even. Like
Oh
this is like
wow.
the the beginnings of the Jedi.
Because I know KOTOR had lightsabers everywhere. So.
Yeah. Yes.
Mm.
Yes. Let's see, and then Old Republic. Yeah, so Old Republic is like Revan and Darth Malak, and yeah, so that's all the game that those game enemies or bad guys. Let's see, Fall of the Jedi. Yeah, I know Dave Filoni's getting his own movie. But
You
yeah,
know, never.
they've done their own Marvel thing where they've got like, here's our plan, here's what we're doing, here's the shit that's coming out. And everybody seems to be pretty happy with it. So we'll see how long it takes for people to be unhappy. But yeah, they did say that they were going to bring back Daisy Ridley.
Mm.
A new film will see Daisy Ridley return to play the character of Rey as she establishes a new Jedi Order about 15 years after the defeat of the First Order.
That sounds like episode
So
10, yo. They're gonna do it.
yes,
We'll call it.
yeah, yeah. They didn't say episode 10, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't know how that works anymore. I don't know what you got to do to be a numbered Star Wars now. So
Right.
yeah,
Okay. Um, you know, they're remaking KOTOR, and I really want to play that game. I want that to
I
come
would play
together.
that. Yeah, I would play that for sure.
Okay. Yeah, maybe by next recording I'll have checked out some Mando. We'll see what's going on with old Grogu. Is he still Grogu? Like, is he look exactly the same? Is he like Groot
Yeah,
now, where he's kind of grown up a little bit? Does
no,
his legs
no, he hasn't.
move?
His little legs move. Yeah,
Okay.
he's a little slow, but he's learning how to walk. And that's honestly, that's some of the worst parts, the funniest and worst parts of that show is when anybody has to like interact with him because he's practical effects. He's
Right.
not CGI. And
Yeah.
so
So it's like a
whenever
doll.
anybody picks him up, it's like they're picking up a doll. And like whenever he does like a force jump, it's literally like your son like bounced him off a bed and he like goes flying like he was like a WWE character. Like, do you ever have those beat up WWE characters when you
Oh
were little?
yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, and you just like throw them things across the room. That's what Grogu looks like when they do flips and stuff with him. He just like, that's a stuffed animal. Like
Oh my
they
gosh.
should have not done that, but I guess
I
that's
love
funny.
it. I'm glad they did that. Kind of brings it
It's
back.
very campy. Yeah. There's actually a really good scene where Grogu has to stay behind and like Mando and Bo-Katan, they go off on this adventure and they come back and they land a ship like 200 yards away from where Grogu and this other person are standing, and everybody goes to walk over there, and I was waiting for them to like pan over because like everybody's always waiting on Grogu to like catch up. And I wanted them to like pan over to him and like literally wait 5 minutes as he just like
Yeah.
slowly
Just
shuffled his
waddles.
little way over there. Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
it's
gosh.
really funny. Yeah,
All right. Um I don't have too much exciting TV to talk about, but I will say if you have Apple, you should check out Silo.
I've heard about this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it is based off of a book series. And the first book is called Wool. Um, and actually, it's Will Smith talked about it a lot on Tested, like way back when he would like sneak in book, talking about books every now and then. He brought it up to me, or not to me, but he brought it up on the podcast, and I added it to my Goodreads, and I started to read it, but this was well over a decade ago, and I was not a strong reader, and it's some pretty
Yeah.
hard sci-fi, so I did not care for it. I was just kind of like, nah, I'm good. But I think I would like to give it another shot now, but the show is pretty good. Uh, we're only a couple episodes into it, and I think it is releasing every Friday. But we're watching Ted Lasso and Barry and Succession. But one show, if I had to recommend one, I would say you should give that one a shot. It's cool.
Yeah, I've had
Um,
multiple people suggest that to me here
yeah,
recently.
and if you get Apple, watch Severance as well.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, Severance is fantastic. Um, that's about it for me. Um, and then for books. I today or this morning I finished Chainsaw Man Volume 8, I think. I'm well past where that show stopped airing. Um, that that manga just continues to be crazy, and so does Berserk. Berserk is, I've said this on the show many times, it's some of the most depressing shit I've ever read, but I can't stop reading it. It has several like red wedding caliber things that happen in that it changes the whole dynamic of the book, and it has happened like more than once. Just like, I don't know how this writer keeps doing it. um and then I put a book on hold through my library by Fonda Lee. She is the writer of the Greenbone saga. Finished those first two books and waiting for the third one. But she wrote a short novella. It just came out like maybe a month ago. It's called Untethered Sky. And I read that and I thought it was just okay. I really like her writing, but I think that book would have worked better as a full length. It was just a really short story, really cool world though, where you're like almost like a falconer of like these massive beasts, and
Mm,
it's the whole thing
okay.
of like trying to tame them and to fight these. I think they're called rocks, which are like almost like these little demon type things that are killing people. So people are training these birds, these massive birds, to hunt these rocks. And but the scary thing is like, to train a bird, once you like rip its, they have to keep their faces covered and stuff. But once you rip that cover off and it takes off, it's just like, well, are they trained to come back? And so it's the whole dynamic, or it's this whole like, she's working on like taming her bird, and like it was like 150 pages or something. So it was cool. I think she could build on it, and maybe that's what she's trying to do. Just like, is there something here that I should write like more about this world? Because she left it very open at the end too. So uh, cool little book. I do have another little book that I just got the notification that it's in, and it is secret, Mistborn Secret, whatever, the novella.
Oh, Secret History?
Yes. And I had to wait until I read Mistborn 6 because I guess that there's a spoiler in there, but so I grabbed it and I read the first sentence, and it has Kelsier, and I'm just like, hell yeah. So I
Yep.
can't. I'm looking forward to reading that. Um, yeah. Um, finished Mistborn. I thought that series was fun. Um, it's different. It's hard to compare it to the first like trilogy, just because they are so different from each other. Um, if it was a standalone, I would still enjoy it, but Mistborn Era One is just in another league compared to these games, or
Yeah.
to this series of books. But again, I don't. That's okay though. Like he wasn't trying to do that
Right.
again. These are a lot more contained stories. So, um, have did you finish 6?
I finished 5.
Okay,
So I did finish 5 and I'm about 20% of the way through 6, I think.
okay.
Um yeah, I liked 5. I liked the way I thought 5 was a pretty good book. Um I don't know if it's any better or worse than book 4.
Mm-hmm.
Um it's still Batman Mistborn, so that's
Mm-hmm.
good.
Right.
I think it's got a good like core group of characters and tells a much smaller kind of contained story
Right.
than the first trilogy. But yeah, I've liked it so far. Yeah, had some good twists and it brings back a lot of the characters and from the trilogy that I like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I like it quite a bit
I
so
really
far.
liked the very end twist of book 5,
Yes, yeah, that's rough.
and yeah, it's very rough. And then yeah, just uh, I don't care to say it, but just like the scene where this you won't really understand, but where he's just like laying his head on her shoulder, and it's just like, gosh dang it, like that is,
Yep.
oh, that's so wild. I didn't see that coming. I will say that. Like,
Yeah, I did not either. Yeah, it's not the way that I thought that was gonna go. Um, I did think that premise of the Khandra
hmm
being the enemy in that book was a little. It kind of set me off. It's kind of set me off of it a little bit because that was kind of one of the main plot lines of the second book in the first trilogy,
right,
with trying to figure out, you know,
the person that was,
who's
yep,
yeah, who's the person spying on us, you
yep.
know. Um, so, but I get it. Like he's trying to subvert some of those expectations. So, but overall, yeah, I thought it was a good book,
And then
and
Mistborn
book.
6 has like sexy Condra.
Yes, yeah,
Five does too, but six they
yeah,
definitely lean into it. Their
yeah,
relationship builds quite a bit with her, or him, her, it, whatever it
right,
is.
yeah, yeah. I just love Wayne. Wayne's
Yeah,
the kind of best part of those books.
yeah,
He's just a fucking. He's like kind of a piece of shit, but like a level. He's like that level. Like so he's like that friend that you have that's just a lovable piece of shit.
hmm
You know that you kind of want to have around.
they explore him in book 6 a lot further. Like they get
Okay.
into the psyche of how he is and why he is, and it's good.
Yeah.
They're all solid. They're all solid, good books. If you're into that universe, you're gonna like them. Um, I want to read the Lost Metal. I just my backlog is I'm just trying to figure out what I'm gonna read.
Yeah.
I bought every issue of there was a humble bundle of every volume of Attack on Titan.
No boy.
That is a show that if you look at like the top 100 episodes of TV, Attack on Titan on like an IMDb list, Attack on Titan has like 8 episodes in it. Apparently, it's like just phenomenal, and anyone that watches it, they're just like, "You need to watch it." So I'm actually trying to convince my wife, sit down and watch this with me. I don't know anything about it. It seems ridiculous because it's about these titans that come in and just just like fuck shit up, and that is definitely not something that she would be into. But I guess it's the characters and the story it tells. It's not all about it is all about the Titans, but it's like, it'd be like saying like Game of Thrones is all about Daenerys. Just like, no, there's way more
Right.
to it than just that. So,
Yeah.
and I guess all the sides are great. So, um, what's next for you? What are you thinking of picking up next?
Oh man, I don't know. I've thought about trying to tackle Rhythm of War and get that out of the way. That's a big one. I haven't been reading as voraciously as I had been last
Mm-hmm.
year. Just been so busy with family stuff, and
Yeah.
once your kids get into sports, it's like your whole life's over.
Yeah.
Like you got 2 kids in sports, it's just like, you know, 4 days out of the week you're at some event, you know, from 5:30 to 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you get home, you're just like done.
Yep.
So, yeah, I want to get through Rhythm of War, because I want to be able to read the next one when it comes out, you know, sometime next year.
Well, you think
Um,
that'll be like late next year?
yeah,
Okay.
I would say so. Yeah, yeah, I would say so. Um, and I want to be able to read the like Warbreaker and Elantris and all those others that I haven't read yet.
hmm
Um, there's just yeah, there's a lot to get through there.
Have
Yeah,
you picked up book 2 yet? Secret book 2?
I have not. I've been waiting on my physical copy to
Oh,
come.
okay.
I wanted to wait till I got that, and I haven't gotten that yet. Yeah, they've had issues with the book bindery.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Um, I did abandon that book. I did.
Oh, okay.
I did kind
Okay.
of set it aside. I wasn't really feeling it too much. Um, The main character in that is just very flat.
Mm.
Doesn't really have a whole lot of like personality to him. And I'm hit or miss on like Brandon Sanderson's humor and how he writes it, and this one it's not great, at least to me.
Okay.
It would be a quick read. It would definitely be something I would read with my kids. Like, it's very much. It doesn't seem like there's anything crazy. Seems easy to read.
Right.
Um, so, and it's Michael Kramer narrating it. So, I mean, he can make anything sound
Yeah,
good,
I was gonna
really.
say
So,
you can listen to him do not do anything. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
read the phone book to me, Michael Kramer. I don't care.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else going on? Anything we want to cover? I'm looking forward to Diablo. I want to play
Yes, me too.
Starfield. I know
Yes.
that Final Fantasy 16 does not come out on PC until next year. They've already said there's a 6 month um, exclusive period on PlayStation, but the devs have already said, yeah, we can't finish in 6 months, so they're going to get way more than a 6 month exclusive.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I've heard that game be compared to The Witcher in a way,
Oh boy.
which
Don't tell me
is
that.
which is strange for a Final Fantasy, but it is seems like they're going a completely different direction.
Huh.
Um, so I really want to play that game, and I fucking hate not having a PlayStation 5 sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but there's still not enough there, and it'll all migrate to PC at some point. So, um, yeah, and Suikoden. So I've never played Suikoden. That's an RPG that I've always wanted to play. Those are being remade. Um, Game Pass. I get that email every month, and it's just like, you've upped your Game Pass, and I'm just like, why do I?
Hmm.
Why? I should just turn this off until Starfield. There's not a ton coming out, and what really sucks is like having that fucking Steam Deck,
Yep.
because stuff comes out on Game Pass. Like, I love indie games, and stuff comes out, and it's just like, I'd rather just buy that and have it.
Right. Yep.
Play it in the car, or play it downstairs or whatever. So,
Yep.
um, I've thought a little bit about trying to put Windows on that thing. Um, but
Yeah.
it just seems like the support of it is not there yet. Like, Valve has
Right.
came out and said, we'll work on drivers and stuff to make sure it can be compatible, but I want like an easy button from them, because I don't even care enough to like dick around with like trying to not jailbreak it, but hack it, or partition the
Right.
drive to where half the drive is Linux, and then half the drive is Windows. I don't care about that. But if Steam was just like, hey, here's a way to install Windows and partition the drive, just make it easy. Now, I'm an IT guy. I it shouldn't be a problem, but I don't want to mess with that thing. I want it to feel like a
Right.
Nintendo system, just out of the box as much as possible. But that means I can't play Game Pass on it. And I follow like the Steam Deck community on Facebook, and I see everyone is installing Windows on it, and they're playing Game Pass games, and it's just like, man. But I don't know. Um, but yes, Diablo. That's the next big one I'm looking forward to. Um,
Yes.
so all right. Well, anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. Let me flip this over here. Thank you all so much for watching, for listening tonight. If you want to check out any of our past shows, you can go to bitpunch.tech. You can send us an email at emails@bitpunch.tech. You can check us out on Twitter and Twitch at BitPunch. You can check out our archive streams on our YouTube channel at /user/BitPunch. And then check out our newsletter at bitpunch.substack.com. All of these links can be found on our website at bitpunch.tech. And that is going to do it for us tonight. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
And we will be back in a couple weeks. Have a good night.